House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, she would never survive here. You know why? It's a no-spin zone. Right. She's lighting a fire in the House before her Napa vacation. Don't give Paul the keys. The House Speaker today saying she expects the Senate to pass its gun reform bill in time for the House to take it up before their scheduled 2-week July 4th vacation. Yesterday, the Senate set the bill on a path toward passage, with 14 Republicans joining Democrats in a procedural vote to advance the bill. President Biden is expected to sign it if it speeds through the Senate and House this week. But Second Amendment advocates say the bill is full of holes. Should Congress pass it or return to sender? Joining me now, Kentucky Republican Congressman on the House Judiciary Committee, Thomas Massie. Well, let's get sassy with this. Obviously, we do have a problem with these unhinged young men going on these hideous shooting sprees in parking lots in black neighborhoods and elementary schools. Does this bill tackle that problem?
Well, that's the most troubling thing about this bill. It's an unserious solution, and we should trash it, not pass it. The other thing that I'm worried about here, Kennedy, is the unintended consequences of saying to an adult that if you had mental health treatment when you were a child, that you are no longer a first-class citizen, you're a second-class citizen. I'm afraid that will encourage some adults to not seek mental health counseling for their children if they need it, when things could be corrected.
Yes, and obviously, you know, mental health is one of the biggest issues, and they are saying, there are Republicans in the Senate, including your Commonwealth congressional compatriot Mitch McConnell, who joined with Democrats on this, saying that more is needed in terms of education spending on safety and mental health. But my problem with that is, and that's one of the things that would, if I were a congressperson, which hopefully I never will be, no offense, I would not vote for it because—
I'd love to have you.
Absolutely not. They got $200 billion from the federal government, $200 billion, 5% of which has been spent over the last 2 years. So why not take 95% of that money and access more mental health resources for troubled kids, access better safety solutions instead of proposing new legislation, you know, that really has not been properly thought out?
No, that's a great idea. Use the money that's already out there instead of stigmatizing and branding the people who seek mental health treatment or their parents who seek it for them for the rest of their lives. The other problem with this bill is there's hundreds of millions of dollars in here to bribe states into doing red flag laws. And every state in the union has laws on the books that allows for involuntary commitment of anybody who's a danger to themselves or others. The difference between those laws that exist in all 50 states and the red flag laws is due process. The laws that exist require a mental health expert to be involved in the trial. The person is allowed to be there. They're appointed attorney if they can't afford one. And you know, there's a decision that's made with due process. The red flag laws turn all that upside down, take their guns away, and thousands, millions of law-abiding citizens are going to have their guns taken away. And that's why I resent it when Democrats or even some people in the media say, oh, they don't want to take your guns away. Tell me what red flag laws are. They are taking all of the guns away from some people.
It is confiscation, but the thing that really worries me is, you know, it's not new people who are going to buy firearms legally. It's the 300 million guns that are already on the streets. What do you do about those? If you get into a confiscatory environment, how do you access illegal guns? It's not as though people are just going to come forward and be like, here, man, take my stash.
There have been some ridiculous bills passed here in the House. They don't get much attention because they're dead on arrival in the Senate, like the Safe Storage Act that requires you to keep your gun locked in your house. Not only is it unconstitutional, it would be a boon to criminals who want to invade your house to know that every law-abiding citizen is going to have them locked up. Criminals don't obey the law. That is the fundamental problem with all gun control. That's the problem with the stuff that's coming over with the Senate and the trash that's emanating from the House.
Yes, so I agree with you. Most things cannot be solved by government. So how do you solve the problem of hate and mass murder for people, particularly young men, who find it so easy to cross the line and take innocent lives indiscriminately?
Well, they're deranged and you can't reason with them. What they need to know is if they target a school, they're going to meet with certain and unceremonious death instead of being able to rack up a toll of dead, innocent children. So let sane adults protect the children from insane adults. And I have a bill to repeal the 1990 Gun-Free School Zone Act, which was a knee-jerk reaction by Congress 32 years ago that has cost more lives than it saved, and that would be the first step.
All right, Congressman Massie, always good to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Candy.